It had been a tense week leading up to the company gala. Clara, my wife, had been acting distant lately, her attention seemingly elsewhere, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Still, I decided to take her to the party, hoping that a night of glamour, laughter, and socializing might rekindle the spark between us, or at the very least, allow me to observe her behavior in a public setting. The gala was spectacular. Chandeliers glimmered overhead, music floated through the air, and guests in elegant attire moved gracefully around the grand hall. I held Clara's hand as we entered, smiling at colleagues, acquaintances, and the occasional distant relative. She seemed radiant, laughing easily and chatting with everyone who approached. I couldn't help but feel a mixture of pride and unease. As the evening progressed, I noticed subtle interactions that made my stomach twist. Clara leaned a little too closely toward one of the guests, a man I didn't recognize immediately, but who seemed to command her attention. Their conversation was intimate in tone, her laughter lingering just a little too long, her gestures suggestive. I tried to ignore it, chalking it up to my own insecurities, but the feeling wouldn't leave me. Later, as drinks flowed and the crowd grew more relaxed, I saw what I feared. Clara and the man slipped away from the main hall, disappearing into the night. My heart sank. It wasn't just flirtation anymore, she had left with him. I felt a storm of betrayal, humiliation, and rage rise within me. Guests whispered, others noticed her absence, but I stayed calm, my mind already plotting a course of action. I didn't confront her directly that night. Instead, I observed, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal the truth, not just to her, but to everyone who mattered. I wanted to turn the tables in a way that would leave no room for denial or excuses. The next evening, I arranged a small after-party at our home, under the pretense of continuing the celebration. I invited the same circle of friends and colleagues who had attended the gala, including a few key witnesses who had seen Clara leave with the man. Everyone arrived, unaware of the storm brewing behind the polite smiles and clinking glasses. I had set up subtle reveal moments, photographs discreetly placed around the living room, messages displayed on a tablet I casually left in plain sight, and strategically timed notifications that would alert guests to certain truths. As the evening unfolded, I watched carefully, waiting for the exact right moment. Clara entered, dressed elegantly as always, her demeanor still confident and radiant. She didn't suspect a thing. Guests mingled, and I made small talk with everyone, maintaining a casual air while my heart pounded beneath my chest. Then, with a quiet signal, I prompted the first reveal. A photograph of Clara and the man from the gala flashed on the tablet screen for everyone to see. Gasps filled the room. Conversations halted abruptly. Clara's confident smile faltered. She looked around, her eyes scanning the faces of our friends and colleagues, realizing for the first time that her private actions had been exposed. I stepped forward calmly, addressing the room. I think it's important everyone sees what really happened at the gala, I said. Sometimes, appearances can be deceiving, but evidence doesn't lie. I gestured toward the tablet and the photos, each one capturing moments Clara had hoped would remain hidden. The reactions were immediate: shock, disbelief, whispers of concern. Clara tried to speak, to explain, but the words wouldn't come. The room's attention was fixed firmly on the truth I had laid bare. My friends, who had witnessed her leaving with the man, nodded subtly, confirming what the images already made clear. Her face went pale, and for the first time that night, she seemed vulnerable. She realized that the trust she had violated was not just personal, it was public, undeniable, and irreversible. I stayed silent, letting the evidence speak for itself, letting the weight of her actions sink in. Finally, I addressed her directly, my voice calm but edged with controlled emotion. Clara, you made your choice last night. I chose to let everyone see it. There's no room for excuses here. Betrayal is easy to hide in the shadows, but when the light is turned on, the truth is clear for all to see. She opened her mouth, but no words came. I turned back to the guests, my expression neutral, almost detached. The room's silence was deafening. I could feel the collective shock, the whispers that spread from one corner to the next, as everyone processed the revelation. By the end of the evening, Clara's facade had completely crumbled. She left quietly, understanding that her actions had consequences she hadn't anticipated. I remained in the living room, surrounded by friends who offered sympathetic glances and subtle affirmations of support, though no one dared speak too loudly. The revenge had been executed perfectly, public, undeniable, and emotionally powerful. In the days that followed, the story spread subtly through our social circle. Clara's reputation suffered, her social standing within our mutual friends shifted, and the truth of her betrayal became a cautionary tale. I, on the other hand, regained a sense of agency and dignity that had been threatened the night she left with another man. The experience left me with a stark realization: trust is fragile, and betrayal, once hidden, can explode into full visibility if the circumstances are right. My revenge was not violent or cruel, it was simply the strategic revelation of truth, letting reality speak for itself. And in that revelation, I found both justice and clarity, a way to reclaim control over a situation that had threatened to humiliate me silently. I never confronted Clara physically after that night. Words would have been redundant. The evidence had done its work, and the shock of the reveal had done more than any argument ever could. Sometimes, the most powerful revenge is simply letting the world see the truth, in all its undeniable clarity. In the end, the gala, which had begun as a celebration, became a turning point, a night when betrayal was exposed, reputations shifted, and I learned the profound power of truth executed with precision. The lesson was clear: deceit can hide for a time, but when exposed publicly, it leaves no place to hide, and the consequences are impossible to ignore.